as regards product management and project management. Okay. All right. So just a minute. Let me share my screen. Okay. All right. So just to confirm, every participant, do we have participants here who have not gotten trained as a product manager? I would just like to confirm that.
We can use the chat box, guys, or we can
Yeah.
just raise our.
So you've not received any, say formal training on product management, or yeah, product management especially. You can also let me know if that applies to okay. So I'm going to share my screen in a bit. All right, so maybe I'll just give a background story. Just background history. Yeah, I think that would help. That would help. Okay, so I started my IT journey after graduating from the university, and I was opportune to work in a management consulting organization. That's why I started the whole IT support work. And what we did there was, training on soft skill. And interestingly, project management was one of the training that I started learning there. One of the training. And after a while, I got trained as a management trainer. So I started facilitating trainings as well. Okay, so that was my first exposure to project management. No. My slide should not be moving by itself. Okay, so that was my first introduction to project management. So in just a few years back, right, we started hearing more about product management. And that's not because we've not known or there have not been product management, right? Just the same way, there's so much buzz on artificial intelligence now. Years back, right, the technology has been there. Now, when a lot of people come into that space, when a lot of people start to, do some things in a specific or in a particular space, right? We hear more about it. We get to know more about it. So project management did not start today. Product management did not start today. IT products has made product management popular, right? Software applications like the Google Meet we're using here, okay? The WhatsApp you use on your phone, some of the apps that allow you to, carry out specific functions like the banking apps, okay, like the social media apps, right? These products, they've made product management very popular. All right, so I'm just going to kick off with, this is my introduction, but I think I'll get this slide across so you get to see what I do. But what is most important that I like to, talk about myself is that I am very passionate about teaching, right? And I'm always excited when I'm able to connect with individuals like you and help to just make it a little simpler. So I hope that you have that experience here with me today. Okay. So when we talk about product management, right, I'm going to explain product management. I'm also going to explain project management. We're looking at the end-to-end process of discovering, right? Thinking about a product, thinking about something of value that can help a customer, a user, solve a problem that they have, right? And it also goes to developing it and then taking it to the customer who will get value from it. So that's what we talk about when we say product management. Now, products management products. Okay, here, this is just me trying to say these are products that, as a product manager, you should be familiar with. Okay, these are what we'll typically call products, like Notion platform help you to create documentation. Slack, we manage student communication in the Slack channel. We have Jira, okay, where once the development starts, that platform can help us to manage how we handle the day-to-day task. Canva, to create designs. Like this template I'm using for the presentation, I got it from Canva. Figma, create to create user flow, right? Step by step on how the people who will use a product will go. Something visual that people can easily see and say, oh, this is what you mean. Then Typeform, we create surveys, right? Google Form is quite popular. And of course, Google Meet. The platform that is helping me to connect with you right now without us being in the same physical location is Google Meet. So the end-to-end process of discovering these products, of developing these products, of delivering these products is what we refer to as product management. So when you say, I want to be a product manager, it means that you want to be part of a team that would make this happen, that will make this work. Okay. Now we have the product management life cycle. Before you look at a product management life cycle, it means that there has to be a product, right? So if we have not discovered, if we have not developed, then there is no product, okay? And of course, even if we have not, taken the product to, say, a group of people to say, oh, experience it, see if, it's doing what you would like it to do, then we cannot say we have a product. Now, the product management life cycle helps us to continue to, discover, develop, deliver, just make this product work for the customer. And this life cycle is in 4 stages: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. As we go on, I would refer to this, okay? But please just take note. Project management. In our world today, people in every industry, organization, countries manage products, right? From having a goal to say, oh, we want to get this building set up. We want to, something as simple as, I want to host a group of people, right? I want to host a group of people. We manage projects, but our focus here is IT projects. Now, these are projects that deal with IT infrastructure. what helps businesses to serve customers better, right? Information systems or computers. So that is our focus. Please take note. So IT project management includes the planning, scheduling, execution, monitoring, and reporting of an IT project, right? IT projects are not limited to IT companies. Other industries that use IT carry out IT projects. So let's look at examples of IT projects. And this is where it gets interesting. So yeah, we have developing a mobile application. That is an IT project. But remember, we said product management starts from what? Discovery, thinking about it, right? Thinking about, I mean, we cannot just wake up and say, let's develop a mobile application. Okay. You see where it's getting similar, but not the same. IT projects to develop a mobile application. We want to have something that people will come on their phone, go to their app store, install on their phone, and be able to do something. So we want to develop a mobile application. That is an IT project. Upgrade IT infrastructure. Okay, so I'll give you a typical example. I worked in an organization where we had the beautiful server room. I mean, it's the pride of the organization, not an IT company, but because of the work that needs to be done, because we need to communicate with customers, employees, vendors, right? Partners, there needs to be an IT infrastructure because everybody is not in the same physical location. So that's the power of IT. So there is this beautiful server room that, I mean, my boss then would say, even if fire got down this building, this room is not going anywhere. Okay. But the truth is that there are times where there is power failure, right? And then the inverter has a problem. Okay. There will still be downtimes. We experience downtime. So there was a proposal to say we would like to, do an hybrid, right? An hybrid means that we would move some of our emails, right, to the cloud, while we still have some on site. Okay. Now that is an example of upgrading your IT infrastructure. That is a project. So we needed to do that in a period of time, right? We had the time frame. We had the vendor, right, who would carry out the project. Okay, we managed the project and we got it done. So database management, to say all of this information that the company needs to process, all of the data the company needs to process, how do we ensure that we have it in a specific place or have it in a warehouse or just organized so that we can start to make sense out of it? So the period that we decide to do that, right, is defined. That is an example of an IT project. Software development. We want to develop a software. Okay. And I mean, software development is what we popularly call products these days, right? When we say, oh, I'm a product manager, right? Now, product managers, at the end of the day, you have a software, right? It could be a web application, it could be a mobile application. Then you have something. That's putting it together, right? That period where we need to come up with something, that is a project. Okay, so IT emergency recovery. Sometimes, like when I explain, there is something goes wrong, right? A data breach or something, data is lost or something. So we say in less than, 2 days, we need to get this thing completed, or in a week. That is an IT project. Electronic signature implementation, right? This when an organization say our CEO, our board of directors, all the top people in the organization, now they are not in the country, right? You cannot be waiting for the signatory to be around to get things done. So implementing that, right, that can be an IT project. So how do you know a project? I've explained it, but let's look at this. It has a unique purpose, right? A unique purpose. It is temporary with a start and end date. It has a plan that can be expanded on. It requires resources, people, hardware, software. It has a primary customer or sponsor. It involves uncertainty. Yes, that's a product, a project. A product, like we explained, something of value that a customer or an individual can interact with, which we say that we go through the discovery stage, development stage, and delivery stage, and it continues throughout its life cycle. So as long as the product is being used, right, we are managing the products. For a project, we want to get something done, okay? And that can be a part of product management. Now, delivering a successful project requires that you have the knowledge, skill, tool, and methodology to deliver the project. So in project management, we need to meet specific scope, time, cost, and quantity. Okay. So I'm going to check if I have questions in the chat before I continue. Okay, there are no questions. Okay, so drop in the chat for me if you're following so that I can keep going. Can you drop in the chat for me if you're following? Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, I only got one response. Let's do this. All right. So, thank you. Thank you. So what we are looking at today is product management and project management. What is the difference? What is the difference? As a product manager, how do I know that I am not doing project management instead of product management? Right? Now, we've looked at what product management is. What we say it involves the discovering, the development, delivering of a product, and it continues throughout the product life cycle. And the product life cycle, we have 4 stages commonly known. We have the introduction phase, we have the growth phase, we have the maturity phase, and we have the decline phase. All right. Now, when we talk about projects, it has a specific time we want to have something ready. So while we are being product managers, there are series of projects that happen inside product management. Okay. Now, for projects, let's look at 5 phases. There's an initiation phase. Here, the needs are determined and we assess viability. If you've been in the product management class, you would have heard us talk about, the product needs to be feasible, it needs to be valuable, it needs to be usable, and it needs to be viable, right? So this is also seen in projects, in IT projects. The initiation phase, we want to determine that there is a need for this product and that this need is enough to earn money for the business, right? The next phase is the planning phase. We plan to say, okay, this is the budget that we'll put into this product. These are the risks based on, what we want to deliver, what we want to come up with. These are some goals that we can achieve. Then we have the execution phase. Here, deliverables are created, tasks are delegated, and there's communication. Now, this execution phase also referred to as the implementation phase, where we get to work, right? Where the development team actually start to, create. Now, I'm saying development team because I'm using IT project here. But launching a marketing campaign can be a project. Okay? Launching a marketing campaign. Say your team has built a beautiful product, or you came into a team that has a product that customers already love, but the team now wants to enter a new market, right? There's going to be a campaign launched. That is a project. So the next phase we have here is monitor and control phase. Here you track team progress, monitor progress, and it's typically done with a tool. Okay, so if you've learned the Jira tool, you would see that when we are putting all of those issues, we call them issues, right? When we are putting the task, the epic user stories, the tasks that needs to be worked on, is for a reason. It's so that we are able to track, right? So that we're able to monitor, so that we're able to, see how well it is going. And then there is a closure phase. The closure phase, at this point, we assess what went well and what didn't. Remember, when we're talking about projects, IT projects, we say there is a start and end date. There is a start and end date. But guess what? The product is still being developed, right? So this start and end date, imagine we want to launch a new feature. By feature, we mean that functionality. We want the customer to be able to do something new on the mobile app, on the web app. They've come to your platform. We want them to be able to do something a little differently, right? We launch a new feature. And in launching that feature, we can run it as a project because we have a start date and we have a closure date. So product development in series of IT projects. Product development in series of IT projects. The planning phase. In the planning phase, we can launch a user research to understand user needs for the product to be developed. That period, we cannot leave a research open forever. We want to interview, this number of persons, right? We want to hear from them. We launch a survey and we say, okay, we need to get this survey. We need to get specific number or a certain number of people respond to our survey, or we need to interview a number of persons to get to understand their needs, right? So in the planning phase of projects, a typical project we will launch here is a user research. Okay, so when we look at product management, when we're trying to understand the problem before we even create a user persona, we launch a user research, right? When we are launching the products, we conduct user research. At any point where we feel like we need to understand, the user need better, it is okay to launch a research. You can see now that even within product management, there are series of projects that can take place. The next phase we'll look at here is analysis phase. So in this phase, we can create a data model of the existing company data related to the application to be built to analyze. So software development stages, right? For that period where we need to come up with a product, where we need to bring it to life, okay? Remember, we have the discovery phase, we have the development, and then we have the delivery stage, okay? Now, in the software development stage, which is the product development, like we're seeing here, these are the phases that, that are related to IT projects. And you can see that there are series of IT projects that we can run while we're developing a product. So we have the implementation phase. Implementation phase, this phase can include hiring or onboarding programmers who would develop the application, right? So if we get to that point where we need to launch a new feature and we realize that we need specific skill, we need programmers with specific skill that would work on this new feature, and the team currently do not have it, there can be a project initiated to hire or onboard a programmer who would work on that feature. Now, the next phase we have here is the closeout phase. This stage can include a project to run new user training session for an application. New user training session for an application. Not to confuse anyone here. The point is, as a product manager within your team, except you don't plan to work as a product manager, there are series of projects that will be happening. What is important for you to know is to know what a product is, what a project is. Now, usually get this question: do I need to work as a project manager, even though I'm a product manager? The answer is yes and no. Yes, because if you are working in a small team, say a new product, you cannot just sit down while all of these things are happening, right? It will be good for you if you gain the skills required to actually get this thing done. If you work in a big product team, all right, it may mean that there are specific project managers who are there to handle all of this. If you decide that you want to build your own, I'm an advocate for, trying out your own thing, right? If you decide that you want to build your own thing, it's important for you to know what is, the projects, or what are the projects that you will need to engage in while you are doing this. And one of the very important thing, okay, if you're doing this for a client, right? You're doing this, maybe you got a contract, all right? Maybe you have your own team, and then you want to help an organization build their first product. It's also important that you know it enough to educate them, so that they understand that, okay, yes, we are building a product. We have series of projects that will typically be done within the product development phase. So far, we've looked at project management, we've looked at product management, and it's important for you to understand how your role can influence whatever stage the product is, whatever stage the project is, and then do it effectively. Okay, so I think I'm going to pause and take questions to clarify if you have any. Anyone? Okay, Ibrahim.
Okay, thank you for the explicit explanation. My question revolves around okay, sometimes it actually overlap when you are doing a product, like as a product manager. Let's say you don't have a project manager in your team, and sometimes you get to know that you like you have to play such a role sometimes. So I just want to ask, like, in situation when you find yourself in, like, okay, doing, like, combining those two roles together, is it like the way you are taught in product management to actually let you know how to handle the project side, like the project management side, or it's just like the same thing on how to manage, like, because to me it looked like the roadmap area. So I don't know, is there a way, like, okay, let's say, is there something like different, or it's just like the same thing when you're managing a software product, different from when you're managing, let's say, construction project management in other industry? But when it comes to software, it's just like product managers are a little bit trained for the project management side of building software products. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to try. I will clarify why I'm answering your question so that I get it clear too. All right. I I started by, bringing it down to say what we're looking at is IT projects. That's because we cannot leave it open. People have been, people have been doing product for years, right? Running product for years. And I shared some examples of IT projects. Okay. Yeah, this is also something you can check out. IT projects. So if you know typical IT projects that can happen, you would try to understand what it takes. It really, even as a project manager, you really don't get to, you're not the one who is developing the mobile application. You're not the one doing the IT infrastructure upgrade. You're not the one doing it, except you have the skill. What you need to know is these are the these are the skill that I need to have as a project manager. It's a project. This is a stage. Project management usually have different stages. Okay, has different stages. Understand the stages that applies to IT projects and see how to, how to implement this, how to get it done. All right. Now, when it comes to project outside IT projects, that is another thing entirely. It means that we are not in the space. So first of all, we need to define it within the space we are in. I'll give you a typical example. I connected with a contractor who says that, oh, he has to travel for a few months, and so he needs to ensure that all his building projects, at least it's gotten to a certain stage. And I'm like, I can manage the project now. I can manage the project. And the gentleman was like, yeah, really? Okay. Do you know how to negotiate for building materials? Do you know how to? Now, if you ask me, I may not actually do all of that typically if you want to use textbook, but we have to face reality. When you get into an organization, okay, until you get to the point where you can influence them without authority, you actually have to do their bidding. Especially when you sign that letter to say I do, right? I mean not I do. When you say you will work, okay, you do their bidding. So they can tell you that you're coming to work as a product manager. These days, everybody has that product management role because it is trending. But you will come in and you realize that the work is business developer. If the money is good enough to keep you, will you not learn how to do business development? All right. So as he said, I'm like, no, I can't. I don't know how to do all of that. We're like, okay, well, you can learn. That's how that conversation went. It just brings me to the point where a lot of times we want to say, I have all the certification as a product manager. No, I have to do product management work. But you can see a job facing you that requires you to just, learn even on the job, right? Which sometimes is the best way to learn. I think it will be in your best interest to do it until you get to the point where they trust you enough and you can influence without authority. That is one skill that we talk about that you need to have as a product manager. Influencing without authority. Okay, so the reality is that when you get into a product team, a lot of projects are happening, even in any organization these days. Most organization projects are happening. Now, our interest is that they are IT related projects, because the reason we're having this conversation, the reason we're talking about product management is because of software products, right? But I know of manufacturing companies, okay, production companies who have that role, product management, they have the role. We in the software industry, in the IT industry, has made it popular. So everybody is now having product management role. So in our environment, I know that most of us, our goal is to work for international clients. But another reality is this: in our environment, a lot of companies and organizations still do not understand the role of a product manager. So, one of the things that you also need to do when you get into any team is to coach them. When I say coach them, to help them understand what a product manager actually does in a way that you are not dying, right? In a way that you're not showing off to say, I can't do that, I'm a product manager. No, in a way that, helps them to appreciate the role enough to allow you help them do their work better. So that is the reality. All right. I just want to be sure that I was able to throw light on what you asked. Okay, Brian, you're welcome. Any other question? This is the interesting part, I think, when we ask questions to just clarify. So how many of us here are working as product managers? You're already working as a product manager. I'd like to see hands. Okay. All right. Thank you for that. Who else? Okay. Okay. So, Ruth, I think you raised your hand. What's your experience with products, rather projects, as a product manager? Yes, Ruth. Do you have any experience with, projects while you're working as a product manager? Okay. I'm not getting any response from her. Ibrahim, do you want to share?
Okay, I think the little experience I have, I would say, I would say, okay, basically, choosing the approach, whether you are going to follow the agile methodology or the Scrum methodology or any other methodology under the agile development approach. So, where you have to schedule stand-up call meetings, uh, ensure that deadlines are met with sprints. Sprints will be maybe maximum of 4 weeks, a minimum of 1 week, and tasks are assigned. It is being tracked and monitored that okay, everyone is actually working and delivering on the task. So I think it looked like the project management side of the software, software product development. So and I mean it's
Great.
just hello?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like okay, and you ensure that everything is well coordinated. I think product managers do, more, let's say, in the product roadmap to ensure that everyone is actually working and things are actually going on. You call for meetings and people deliver on their tasks, you assign tasks, and um, in the agile development, it has to be adaptive. That is subject to changes and all. It is not really fit. So once you guys build a product, you continue to get feedbacks, and then you iterate, and
All
and
right.
all.
Thank
So
you. Thank you so
and then
much.
customer collaboration as well in building.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So that brings me to sharing a little on agile. Okay. Now, during the development phase, because we also understand that in a typical project, even though we expect it to follow a certain roadmap, a lot of uncertainties happen. Things happen. Remember the customer research that you did? A little change, customers need change, the environment change. So a methodology is introduced that allows you to manage all of that uncertainty. That methodology is typically known as the agile methodology, right? So even as a product manager, you get to come across the agile methodology. And that's one, skill that recruiters or companies ask to get you to apply as a product manager. Now, the agile methodology deals, just deals with, like I said, the uncertainty, help teams to build their products, and a framework that helps you to implement agile can be introduced. The popular framework is Scrum, like Ibrahim mentioned. Scrum, popular framework. Okay, so that framework, if you're familiar with Scrum, you realize that there's a time frame that it recommends. Okay, so we're saying within 1 week or 2 weeks or 4 weeks, not more than 4 weeks, we want to be able to get this thing done. So remember when we said that a project has a start and end date. So when we are leveraging the agile methodology and using the Scrum framework, we are able to work on these projects, right? Work on projects that allow our products to do better within a specific time. Okay, working with specific number of team members, looking at the goal that we need to achieve. Okay, so just to summarize what we've looked at so far, the difference in product and project management starts with you understanding what each entails, and we rightly said that in product management it starts from thinking about the products, discovering the products, then developing the products, and then delivering the product, which it doesn't end there. As long as the product is valuable to the customer, it goes through different life cycles. All right, go through different phases, which we typically call the product life cycle. Project management, which we narrow down to IT projects, can occur within product development, can occur within that product that you're working on as a product manager. We looked at some examples of products, or rather projects. Then we also looked at series of projects that can happen during a product development phase. All right. So one of the things that I make sure to say is, depending on the team you're in, depending on the team, this is the reality, right? You may need to understand and actually get to work ensuring that the product is successful. So if you have to follow up with, go and learn how to, you know, do your work as a project manager, just so that the product is developed, you should do that. Okay. If you get to a point where you can actually influence it, that would be good for you to actually help the team understand the difference. So far, I hope that we've gotten it clearly. And with the examples that I've given, I hope that learning has taken place. Okay.
All right. Are you okay? Yes, you're done. Thank you so much, Theodora, for this amazing, amazing session. It's been an
You have a question,
insightful
last question.
learning. Ibrahim, please hold on. You ask a question. Right. So yes, thank you so much, Theodora, for that. It's great to um, hear from you. It's great to know the difference. I mean, I like the fact that you had to talk about IT project management, and in a way, there are so many similarities. If I'm not wrong, thank you so much for sharing with us in this amazing, amazing session. It's been an insightful about 1 hour. And yes, we have question from Ibrahim. Ibrahim, please, you can go ahead to ask a question now.
Okay, thank you. I want to know if the tools we use for managing product is still the same thing applicable to project management as well, or it varies.
So IT projects, yes, right? Considering the IT projects that are shared. Okay. Now, in general project management, we typically, we typically see, say, the work breakdown structure. Okay. And then there are tools, there are some project management tools. But when we're looking at IT projects, in developing a mobile application, we can use a tool like, in fact, some of the tools that I mentioned in the beginning, right? We can use Jira. Okay, we can also use Asana. Okay, just lay out the task that needs to be done in a way that you're able to track them. So there are series of tools. There are various tools that can come to play that teams can use. Some teams actually build their own internal tools just to manage a project, right? But most importantly, once you know what you want to accomplish, it's now easy for you to use the tool. Now, if the team is working remotely, they will want to use communication tool, right? If the team, um, you know, if they, so we can use the same tool. Please note that I narrowed it down to IT projects, okay, so that we don't run wild to say just any because their projects are constantly being implemented in other industries, right? But I believe that what concerns us, considering we are learning software product management, or we are here because we came in contact with Enoverlab, is IT project, and I think that helps us to just streamline what we need to do when we get into that space.
Right. Thank you so much, Theodora, for that one. And Ibrahim is asking again, can a product manager apply for IT project manager in this case? I don't know, but I think yes. But yes, I think Theodora will be in the right place to answer that question. Theodora, do
I
you apply?
yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
very
yes.
correct.
I think you can. I
Yes, you
think you can
can.
apply,
Yes, you
right?
can.
We have our. I did a course on IT project management, like a complete course on IT project management when I was doing my master's degree.
Yes, it's
Yes,
actually a course of its own.
yes, yes, and then
Yeah,
of course there are certifications that you can also get
and also yeah,
to help you. So I
yeah,
usually recommend that you start with even the Scrum Master certification. Okay, it helps you understand, implementing agile, right? So yes, you can. Don't limit yourself to waiting for product management roles. You can